So I think I need the other board members to come up here and give me a hand. There's 1, 2. Where are you, Sarp? There we go. There's Sean. Come on up here. I want to introduce you guys to the members of our community. A slide behind us. So this is the photo opportunity? Oh, that's incredible.
Just like better models.
All right, so pardon us for 30 seconds. We're having a photo opportunity.
Let me get the right slide behind him too, yeah.
You say, Sean, you need to switch? Just that OCD was preliminary
There we go. So y'all can like cheer them on, whatever. These are all volunteers that helped us get through the first year. Good. Great. Thank you for that opportunity. So are they going to want to talk at all?
Sure. That'd be swell. So I'm Steve Sims. I'm the president of OpenSFS at the moment. This is Steve Monk. Steve Monk is the treasurer for OpenSFS. We have Sarp Oral, who's the vice president. We have Rick Wagner, who's the secretary. And we have Sean Hall, who's our at-large board member. Please give him another round of applause. This has been a thankless job, and, you know, we just can't get it all done without them. So we've got a presentation here. It should be reasonably painless. Jen, are you out there?
To the right there.
This is Jen Franklin. Jen Franklin works for VTM. She is our administrative assistant, and if, you know, she weren't on the case, you know, there are times when I don't know how we'd get anything done. So let's give Jen a round of applause. Stand up, Jen. Oh, come on. So if you have any questions about OpenSFS, you can hit any of us or Jen. She'll be here for a bit longer. Right. So we're going to talk a bit about OpenSFS, past, future, membership, financials. We're going to talk about the requirements gathering process, which is something that we hope will be kind of a draw to get people on board. And we're going to talk about new leadership moving forward. We've had an election, and we'll talk about that. Man, it's been a long road to get here. I think, you know, Robert mentioned that, you know, talking to Mark Seeger in 2010, Mark Seeger, now with Intel, formerly of Livermore, helped organize this group called OpenSFS. And at that time, there were 4 founding members, DDN, Cray, Livermore, and Oak Ridge National Laboratory. And the goal really was to ensure that Lustre continued. And it did, and it has. And I guess, through multiple transformations and various, bodies in caskets buried places that I'll never tell you about, we're where we're at now. I want to make sure that I thank Intel and Cray for having gotten us across the finish line of the last mile to transition our organization to one that is now truly led by the user community. So we're there. We have leadership that as of today, after the announcement, we will have leadership that was elected by the user community. This gives users an opportunity to have a unified voice. I think Sarp's going to speak to that somewhat. This user group meeting was run by and led by users, and it's being hosted here at a user site. Some of the things that we do, I think I've alluded to this before. We support the Lustre Working Group with grateful participation from our vendor partners, ideally, what we're hoping that OpenSFS will sort of blossom into is an opportunity for people to, from the user community as well as the vendor community, to rub shoulders and be kind of an I don't know. I think Peter Bojanic used the word clearinghouse. I kind of like that, a clearinghouse for ideas and thoughts about Lustre. In the past year, we've had some good successes. We had the Lustre Community BOF at SC. I guess 2 years ago, the BOF we hosted was so well attended and in such a small room that it was standing room only. This time around, we had enough space and things went really well. Sean Hall participated in the Rice Oil and Gas conference, which has resulted in increased participation and membership, so thank you. This is our, first member-hosted LUG, hopefully the first of many. I guess in the sort of, raw Lustre department, in the past year we had both a release of Lustre 2.8 and 2.9, and we're all looking forward to the release of 2.10. I guess this past year saw the completion of the long-running Lustre contracts that we'd had from, the organization's inception. That, contract with both Intel, formerly Wham Cloud, and Indiana University. And as of today, we'll have a community-elected board of directors. And with that, I'm going to pass things over to our secretary, Rick Wagner.
So one of the things we want to address is the growth of membership. So OpenSFS is a member and participant-driven organization. So our revenues to operate, to make sure that we stay legitimate as a corporation, so that we can host events like this, get the word out, do stuff, is all through your subscription. So if those of you that are members and participants, thank you very much. And second, if you're not, please consider joining. By joining, you get a voice as a member in terms of feedback to the vendor community and the participants into the direction we'd like to see Lustre go. So that's a key element. So members, voting rights, members are the sites that use Lustre. Participants are the companies that profit off Lustre. And I don't mean that in a pejorative term at all. You make us capable of doing what we need to do. So we really appreciate it. And we want to foster the relationship between these two communities. So please, like I said, if you have joined, thank you very much. If you are considering it, please do and talk to us, and we'll discuss this further. By you joining, you help guide our future. So here's the list of current members and participants, you'll see the company or the groups that BP, Argonne, Globus, SDSC, NCSA, NSA, Oak Ridge, all the users, and then the participants. These are the companies that help to keep us going. So if you'd like to see your logo up here, it's only $1,000 a year to be a member and $5,000 a year to be a participant. Not a huge burden. So. And now it's time for financials. Let me turn this over to Steve Monk, the treasurer.
Yes. So with the changes in the dues rate, I sort of had to become Mr. No in terms of the money, because suddenly we don't have a whole lot of money coming in. So you're looking at 2016 financials, and you see that really the membership dues were sort of a big chunk of our revenue, with expenses being the technical developments, development investments. Rolling into this year and onward, really a big chunk is going to become, in terms of event income, things like this will help get some revenue. So we certainly would like to increase the memberships and get more folks, to have that blue part of the pie grow, and be able to flatten it out a little bit. The technical development section, obviously, we have some contracts that we need to finish out, and that will shrink over time, and we'll be able to run the budget fairly flat, we hope, and keep the organization viable going forward. And who's that? Next, that's Sarp, isn't it? It's you.
No, this one. This is not me. Okay.
Oh, that's
I can speak to that.
your name's there.
Oh, no, it says Sarp. It's all you.
It's all you, man.
Okay. This is a user-driven community, and there are multiple ways to have your voice in the community. And on technical matters, Lustre Working Group is the premier method for that. It's currently run by Peter and Dustin. Can you guys raise your hands? So they are having weekly teleconferences. The contact information is on the web. If you want to join in, you can contact us. We can direct them, provide the contact information, or you can directly get involved with that one. That is where the progress on technical matters on Lustre are being discussed. We have the Lustre User Group Programming Committee that annually is responsible for organizing this event. You can get involved with that one, where we need lots of help. And then there's the nominating committee that is responsible for nominating the candidates for the officer positions for the board. So you can get involved with that one as well. Our new bylaws and the handbook are posted on the OpenSFS webpage, where it defines the responsibilities of these committees and the board and the processes. So take a look, and if you have any questions, let us know, please. So the new OpenSFS, or the reorganized OpenSFS, has one more added new responsibility, and that is to collect the community's requirements and the wish list in terms of how they want to see Lustre shaped up for the future, and organize that and relay that information to our vendors. That is governed by a process called requirements gathering. So the goal of the process is to collect, organize, and prioritize the community's requirements and communicate it to the participants. It's quite easy for the members. All you have to do is put in an RT ticket and say, what do you want to see from Lustre? And the board will take it, organize it, and provide a collated list. And then all you have to do is cast your vote. That is as easy as it can get for you. So we need the community's involvement on that one, telling us what you would like to see, and we can take it and communicate to our vendors. The outcome of this is what we hope to achieve is it's a 3-stage process. So you declare what you want to see in your wish list. Then you vote on an organized collective Lustre wish list, how you want to see these, all of the items put forward by the community. And then once we take that list and communicate it to the vendors, we will get feedback on which items on that list are doable in what time frame, and then we'll get that feedback and relay it back to our community members. The idea is to establish a bridge and provide a common voice between the Lustre members and the Lustre vendors. There's nothing more than that. And the new OpenSFS is not in the business of giving out development subcontracts. We left it as the members who want to see, who want to fund these efforts, but we want to provide a common interface between the members and the vendors. So more on the process. Every member site has a delegate, and each delegate is provided with a single username to access the RT ticket system. And if you don't know your site delegate, we can tell you who that is. And if you are a site delegate and if you have questions about this one, please come and find us. We can talk about more. The delegate is responsible for putting forward the requirements for that particular institution. The delegate is also responsible for voting on the prioritized list. And the delegate is also responsible for disseminating the feedback that the board provides to the site delegate. For all questions, please send us an email. We will be more than happy to discuss it further with you. And if this process needs more adjustments, you think, please let us know that. We can try to make it more easier on you. And is Nathan here? Okay. Nathan from Oak Ridge, many thanks to him. He set up the RT process for us, and currently he is administering the system for us. So many thanks to him.
All right, I think it's time to talk about elections and board members and stuff like that. So, as you recall, Mr. Sims reached out to a few of us last year and said, we're getting ready to transition. Are you willing to donate your time to this cause? And you can see the group of us in photos at the SC16 BOF up here in front of you. And so we stepped in as appointed board members. We were appointed by the previous board of OpenSFS as part of the transition. This was actually following through the full legal process to ensure that there was a duly appointed board of directors to get us to this point where we could actually host elections. So if you would, thank you. All right, so the election nomination process, first there is the committee, and thank you to Mark Gary who could not be here. And if Dustin and Kent, would you please stand up just for a moment? Kent and Dustin, thank you very much. This is the members of the nominating committee. So thank you for reaching out. You probably, some of you have been contacted by them. I'll cover this. I was considering having them up there, but I can probably just run through this. You're probably contacted by them. They reached out to those of us that were currently serving on the board to solicit whether or not we'd be willing to continue serving and in what capacity. And then they reached out to the various member organizations, like who's active in the community and who would be willing to try this role. And In the end, we collected a set of nominees and we posted their bios and information out and then sent out an electronic ballot. So those of you who are site delegates saw this ballot, and as far as I know, we had near 100% completion of voting. So thank you very much for voting. This is part of the process. So with that, could you go to the next slide? All right. Probably appropriate at this time for the nominees to come up. So I think we're missing two. So one of the details of, so if I could get Ken and Stefan, you want to come up? Well, we're going to announce the results in just a minute. So one of the details about the nomination and election process is that if there is only one person nominated for the position, that person is elected kind of by default. So, oh, Kevin, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you. Kevin Harms. Yeah. All right, my bad. So what you'll see is that the positions that were nominated were included president and vice president, secretary, and treasurer. And then we had two nominees for director at large, which is Sean and Stefan. So we only actually voted on two folks. So 4 of us are now on the board, continuing again. And with the next slide, I'd like to announce the results of the election, which were for director at large, so if you would. So Sean, congratulations, and Stefan, thank you for willing to support your time and all your work you do on the committees and stuff like that. So even willing to be elected is a commitment because you don't know what's coming down the road. So, all right, so here is your new board. So as I said, we now have President Sarp Oral, Vice President Kevin Harms, Secretary Ken Rawlings, Treasurer Rick Wagner, and Director at Large Sean Hall. And with that, I'd like to turn this over to the new President of OpenSFS, Sarp.
Thank you. First of all, thanks. It was a pleasure working with you guys. And
as your first duty, can we get the new board together for a quick photo?
yes, sir.
The new board is...
Happy to.
Yeah.
Nothing changes. Rob is still bossing us around.
Let me change the background.
Sorry. Oh, there's the slide. Oh, you're going to go back over that subject. Look at you guys. All right. Arrange yourselves some way in the center of the screen.
I challenge to.
Yeah, and do some choreography. If that switches.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
Maybe hands out of pockets, down to your side, no fig leaf. There we go, perfect. No fig leaf, sorry. You'll regret that later, I'm telling you. Oh.
Let's give him a hand, the new board.
Wait, sorry, one last notice on the nomination and election. So by the way, these positions are normally for 2 years. Because of the transition, we will have an election next year, and some number of us, I think maybe Vice President, and Jen's going to help me with this in the bylaws. But basically, we will have a partial election next year and then another election the year after, and then we'll be on the full rolling process according to the bylaws. So, final note on elections.
So, yeah.
It's a whole different slide.
Okay.
That's weird.
Thank you. So, this is the most important piece of the business.
Oh, yes.
This is for you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Thanks for everything. that's on behalf of all past and current board members. Thank you for everything you did. Thank you for your service. Get some rest. We'll need you back here. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Few last words, then I'm gonna shut up and let the program continue. This is after the reorganization. It's a user-driven and user-controlled organization. We have the primary business of organizing Lustre user group events. We have the primary business of orchestrating Lustre development through the Lustre working group and the resource gathering. So those are the three tasks we have to carry. We have administrative expenses as well as organizational expenses for the LUG, and we need your help for that one. Currently we have 13 members and 9 participants and 2 more memberships in the process. We need to increase the membership base so that we can stay cash positive. And as an organization, we can stay afloat. So if you are not a member, just echoing what Rick said, please become a member. It is really dirt cheap. It's $1,000 per year. Any organization should be able to afford it. And if you are a vendor, it's $5,000. Again, you should be able to afford it, or you are really hurting in that business. If you know other organizations that use Lustre and not members, this is a collective responsibility. It's not only the responsibility of the board. We need you out there trying to help us and gather more members. So if you are a university, if you are a member of a academic institution, and if you are using Lustre, please become a member. If you know other universities that are using Lustre and not a member, please do a reach out and help us and get them members. The whole idea behind this reorganization is we can increase our membership so that we don't need a few members that are paying and carrying the burden. Instead, it's a shared responsibility. Everybody is paying very little amount of money and we can survive. So that is the number one request the new board and myself will be putting forward. Please go out and do some help and reach out on behalf of us. We need to increase the membership at least 50% at this point. The second one, as I said, we have 3 responsibilities going forward, and organizing LUG next year is our primary task. So I'm looking forward to that one. The effort normally starts in early fall. So if you are interested in participating in organizing the LUG next year, please contact us. We'll be more than happy to get you involved in that one. If you are interested in participating how to advance Lustre technically, please contact us or Peter or Dustin and get involved with the Lustre working group. I'm looking for a successful next year until the next elections. Thank you very much.